Life is sweet. Let it sweep you off your feet.
Hi, this is Ali and Find Your Joy. Please remember to like and subscribe. Today, hola, all the way from just north of Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, we have the fabulous Roland Michael Barrett. Rollie, hi, how are you?
Hola. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Well, I mean, if I'm not, there's something wrong with me. Yeah.
Well,
Like the
it could
palm
be
tree
that.
over there.
It is. It's awesome. So you're down in Mexico right now. Are you going down there once a year, or what's happening with that?
This is my first year here.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. And how
as
long are you
you
staying?
as you may know, I got booted out of the States a few years ago.
Oh, that's right. You were
So
you were busking or something, were you?
yeah, I go down in the wintertime when I'm not performing. Rather than trying to pick up gigs and here in the wintertime, I try to I be getting out of my shell and trying to go down to different places and basically street perform. I do some private gigs too, but I kind of prefer the little bit of a hustle nature to it that I like.
Yeah.
And I was traveling around in a VW bus, and
Sweet.
just I call it the Santa tour. You just go into towns that start with Santa, you know,
Perfect.
Santa Barbara, Santa Monica, you know, Santa's okay too. I did Santa Cruz,
Santa
Santa,
Cruz.
yeah, all those places. So, um, yeah, and I got booted out. I got caught for playing without a federal license, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, they didn't like it too much. So they said, "Well, you can come back in 5 years."
Oh my
And
gosh. Okay, well let's be glad it wasn't like recently because that could have been really ugly. But
well, it would have been better off. I mean, then I would have been kicked out at the right time.
yeah,
Timing's everything, right?
yes, it
But
is. It is. Everything
now I
is.
just fly over.
Yes, exactly. So you
And,
fly over you and you're is are you going there for like a vacation to play, to hang out, all the
um,
above?
yeah, I mean, it's just it's been really healthy for me. The first time here, I've never been in an area this, aside from the Persian Gulf with the Navy, and
Right.
most of the time we were on the ship indoors or whatever. I've never spent this time much time in this kind of climate with humidity and that, and I've just my eating habits change and my
Yes.
exercise habits change. I paddleboard every morning. As I
Oh,
mentioned before, here it was um, I was supposed to start at 10 a.m. your time, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so it was 10 a.m. I had an hour to go, and I was 3.4 kilometers out into the ocean, and I had to boogie back, man. Like my arms are still tired,
Oh,
and
well, thanks for
thanks
making
for
that effort. So you're doing it on a paddleboard or a kayak?
a paddleboard. Paddleboard, yeah, I go
Wow.
boarding every morning, and the whale season's been amazing. There's whales everywhere. I was with dolphins this morning. They weren't too cooperative. They were kind of going away. We're diving for long periods of time rather than hanging out.
Right.
But I go out there and I do a little yoga out there and come back. You know, some
Oh,
days like five
I
or 6 kilometers. Other days I'll do 12 or 13 or whatever. And,
really, I can't even
yeah.
imagine. Well, you know what? I've never tried paddleboarding, so I shouldn't actually say. I just assume, because I'm not in very good shape, that it would be very hard. But I mean, I guess you would get in good shape.
Well, it's so it's such an amazing experience that you don't feel the physical element
Right.
of it really.
Yeah.
Um, and it's better. It's much better at where we're from in British Columbia than it is here. I mean, it's nice here, and it's crazy being around all these animals. I don't know if you saw the video where the humpback whales went directly under my board.
I did.
Yeah, that was nuts. That was like that 50-footer just surfaced right in front of me and went right down underneath. And the weird thing is, I was going this way and they were going that way, and they did a beeline and came towards me. I don't know if you saw that in the video, but that was
So how did that feel? Were you afraid or nervous at all? Or
initially, I for about like a split second, I was afraid, and then I was like, "Oh my God, this is really happening!" And I had
wow.
this intense level of gratitude and the mass amount of good anxiety. Like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is gonna
excitement.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like when you get up to the top of the roller coaster and
Yeah.
except it's 1,000-foot roller coaster and you're going to go
Yes.
down.
Wow.
Those beautiful beasts came towards me and it was amazing. It was like, and they didn't make much wake. They didn't make a lot of wake. They were really gentle. It was a mama, a calf, and an escort, which is a male. From what I understand, it's a male whale that maybe it doesn't have to be the parent. It's just
Okay.
an escort that I don't know why they escort them around. They do a lot of different things out here. They come inland in the bay. They're protected here, right? That's why they come here it's the calf. So
Oh,
in
so
Bahia,
so it's safe for oh my gosh, so there's actually calving going on there too.
oh, there's so many whales. There's so many whales out here. It's not funny. They're gone now. They just finished about 2 weeks ago. So, um, but yeah, paddleboarding where we live is much more beautiful. We got that emerald green water. We got our trees and forests, and in my opinion, anyways.
Right. Well, I guess it's also maybe what we're used to, perhaps. But yes, I think when
Yeah,
I go someplace that is less lush, um, you
lush
know,
is a good word.
it seems a little different. Probably why I love Hawaii so much.
Yes, for sure.
It's so green and which just reminded me our friend our we've got a good friend that lives in Hawaii who's just moving to Santa Cruz. I thought of him as soon as you said that. George Kahomoku Jr. is do you know I don't know if you know him. He's won 4 Grammys for Hawaiian for he's a Hawaiian guy and he plays Hawaiian music. He's awesome, but when you said Santa Cruz, I thought, oh,
A
another place.
ukulele player?
He plays ukulele slide, and
Okay. I
just
played on the pier, the Santa Monica Pier, with a ukulele player who had won many a Hawaiian version of the Grammys.
well, it's a
Uh,
Grammy, but it's of Hawaiian music. Well, it might have been. His name's George, Uncle
I
George
don't.
is what
Yeah,
people.
I think it's a different guy. This guy had issues with a lot of people on the pier. He would get into
Oh yeah,
squabbles with people all the time.
George is like the sweetest guy ever. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I just thought of that, and I always think of what when I know different players, and I always think, oh, I wonder if they would connect well. I wonder if that could happen, or I don't know. It's just where my brain goes. It's how my brain works all the time. Also, I know when I go someplace like Hawaii, or I haven't gone to Mexico a lot. I've been to Mexico like 2 or 3 times, and only like for a week or two, very touristy stuff. And anytime I
yeah.
go anywhere that way, I'm not really like I'm not a good tourist that way. I don't really like it, but what you're doing interests me.
I am playing. I could play 10 hours a day out here if I wanted, but it's so I play right now. I've cut myself down to about 5 days a week, and
Okay.
I was playing indoors at restaurants, and I gave that up because I've got a spot where I can. The spot where I'm at now, I don't get paid. The other places I get paid,
Right.
but I prefer this. And when I say paid, I mean you get about 1,000 pesos, which is about $70,
Right.
and that's a lot of work for a little bit of money, But
Yeah.
you can pay your apartment and your food and stuff like that. But I prefer this busking spot because it's in a bottleneck area where the tourists are kind of traveling over this little bridge, and I got them trapped.
Oh, it's
I trapped
awesome.
I
Probably
trapped them
make
with
more
music, and I
money.
get big crowds there, um yeah, I can usually make about 2,500 3,000 pesos a night there, and I hire a local guy to play percussion with me, and he loves that. So it's nice to be employing somebody that's from here, and
Yeah,
makes me
yeah.
feel better about playing music, on somebody else's turf, right? So
Yeah, for sure,
that's
for
a thing,
sure.
right? That's a thing.
It is,
Hey,
it is,
Mario.
it is a thing, right? Like it's
Yeah,
thinking about that when and especially when, it's not like it was. I can remember well, I remember back in the day when you could
here we
play.
go.
Yeah, I know, but when you could play 5, 6, you'd be playing 5, 6 nights a week, right? And
Yeah,
and lots of money to be had and to share and to go around. And now it's a little bit more like to get, and I guess it depends what you like to do, right? I gone are the days for me, I know of wanting to I'm not really a band person anymore. so much, right? Like,
Yeah, it never was. I did that for a while. I have my trios that I work with, as you know, Dave
yeah,
and Brad and people like that, just little trios that I do my own original music with. But
yeah,
what I liked is that I've been lucky as far as how I've consolidated my music business. And I did take music business from Berkeley. I don't know if I learned anything from there. I must have learned something, but
right.
one thing I learned is that I don't like the music business. I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah,
And I learned more about direct to fan. And over the years, I've developed a couple of personas. One where I try to specialize in cover music, and a lot of people, for some reason, shun that. I love it. I absolutely love it. I could do cover music all day long. And over the years, I've written a lot more music. Not in the last few years, but I've got like 3 albums, so I've got about 30 or 40 songs that I can play of my own that are well received, and I can mix that in, and people that I play at the same place all the time. Generally, I usually have a couple of residences, right? So, as you well know, Enrico Winery, I've been playing there for 10 years, and
yeah,
so I have a lot of niche stuff going on. So I'm able to market that. And if you're at a place playing for a long time, you have the opportunity to fine tune the marketing and the branding and the ability to make money and knowing your demographic more so than you would doing all these sporadic gigs, right?
right.
Another guy
Right.
around here that's done that is Dylan Stone.
Not sure. The name's a little
Dylan,
familiar, but once you
yeah,
said
Dylan
Dylan,
Stone is a guy. He's been around here for a while now, and
here in Mexico or here
no,
Vancouver.
in Victoria.
Yeah.
He does a lot of the iconic band things like the band tribute band. He does a lot of tribute stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
a singer-songwriter as well, but he does a lot of tribute stuff, and he does that well. And he also promotes concerts now.
Right.
I remember back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, when he was just kind of like all of us, going from open mics to playing live gigs and doing cover stuff. And now he's consolidated himself as well. And now he's found what he loves to do. And I'm sure he does all right doing that. Hopefully he
Yeah.
does.
And that's
So
part of it, right? Figuring out. I think music especially. Sometimes we start out and we're just, I don't know. I just know I wanted to do it. I didn't really know, and I was the chick singer, so I was sort of really. I had a lot of really kind people that mentored me, but I just sort of dropped myself into bands. So, sometimes I'd create a band. We
you
were
were a powerhouse singer too, eh?
Yeah, I was back. When I had before in the before, yeah, yeah. And I'm working at getting my voice back, but I was so I did rock or blues or kind of like whatever, and I was happy to do it. I used to like singing rock. I loved it, but then I was, but I think part of it for me has just been figuring out. It's taken me a long time to figure out I don't know, what did I even want to do? I didn't even know really, and I think that's kind of what you're talking about. It's a bit of the artist trail, right? We figure out what do we even want to
We were
do.
all just trying to get gigs. That's all. Especially in this newer day, as you well know, I never started playing. I never did my first gig till I was 40.
Right.
Right. And the way I got started in music was, I initially decided when I was in the Persian Gulf with the Navy that I hate this. And
Right.
if I can make enough money playing music to buy a sandwich or, just, feed myself, I'll do it, just not to do this. Right. And my whole family was military. And then I had some tragedy, and family tragedy happens, and I ended up using the guitar to save myself, to heal myself from that, right?
Right.
And I ended up writing myself out of I wouldn't say I wrote myself out of the trauma completely, but I wrote myself out of a lot of the dangerous areas of that trauma. And I was able to transform a lot of those songs into less depressing pieces of music. I have a song called Dog Day Afternoon, which I think you know.
Yeah, I love that
And
song.
I always say, about 15 years ago, I wrote a couple of songs and they really sucked. But I didn't want to throw them out, so I put them together and made a baby song. You know,
Nice.
you got to work with it, right?
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know if you're like me, but I have a box of sometimes they're half written songs or a verse or just a hook I think might be good or just endless one-liners. And I
I got
just
a box too, right there with a bunch of songs on
yeah,
it.
well, yeah, see, I
I'm
was
new
gonna
to school.
say is nowadays they sit in here
Yeah,
or I get an
yeah.
idea and I sing it into my voice thing, right? I'm like, "Oh, that'd be great." Or I hear a song on the radio and I think, "Okay, you see how this starts? Okay, but what I want to do is and I'm recording it all to myself, right? Because
You started young though, right? You started quite young.
yeah, I was youngish maybe. I don't think I was in my first band till I was
But you've been in the music industry in the 80s, right? I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Now this memory thing is kind of funny. But I feel like I kind of always skirted around it, and I did vast changes, right? So I started with, oh, look at it's going. Don't show the mess over there. See, I'll show you there. Oh, look at that. This as the camera starts to
Why
roll.
I'm outside.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't
Don't
want to
have
go in
to
there.
think
You want to
about
be
it.
here. I want to be here, not there.
Well, I played in bars and then I started going I did the whole church thing for a long time and so
Hmm.
I did gospel or worship or whatever. I did that for a long time. And then I kind of got out of that for a while. I had a karaoke company and played in
Yeah,
cover bands. I did
that's
that
where you
for
met Dave, right?
yeah, from doing
Yeah.
karaoke. And so I did that for some time. And then I went back to the church thing for about another 15 or 20 years. And then I came back and started doing other stuff. So I've kind of always bopped in and been in and around it, but I never and I wrote and I did things, but I guess I sort of felt like I never really seriously did a lot of it. But I loved what you did because it was really smart what you did. You were still in the Navy when you started playing gigs. So it
Yeah,
was
it was
probably a
good for
bit of a
me.
cushion because then your daughter was probably you had to still support her. So you kind of needed to do you know what I mean? Like it's,
Well, I
financially.
was raising my daughter as a single parent when I was doing that. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so it
yeah,
was, you had, like, I just know for me, when I was a single parent too before David, right?
yeah.
So I had my band, I had my day job, like I was just, you just whatever you can do to bring in a couple of things and taking them McYucks every once in a while to make them happy.
Mhm.
So when you first started that, when did you start playing guitar though? Were you always like you must have
Uh, Through my life, I had guitars and I could maybe play a couple of songs,
yeah.
barely. But I really started playing when I was about 31.
Okay.
And then when I came back from the Persian Gulf, we had about 30 days off. And that was 2002. And I'd never sang before. And my landlord had a karaoke company. And me and my buddy that had gone to the Gulf with me, we kind of hung out for about 30 days, just drinking
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
traveling up and down the island. And he said, "Hey, let's open up my landlord was in Thailand at the time, and we wanted to try his karaoke machine. So we tried, and he said, "Hey, you sing pretty good." So next thing you know, we're going hanging out in karaoke bars and doing all that. And I said,
Yeah.
I might as well start getting better at guitar, and it developed from there. And then I decided in 2004 that I was going to buy a nice Martin guitar. And
Yeah.
I made a little contract with myself that I would play like 3 hours a day for at least a year if I was going to pay for this guitar. And I thought that was an expensive guitar at that time at about $1,000, maybe 900 something dollars.
Yeah.
Boy, was I fooled, man. Like 2008, I bought another one, and that was just over $4,000.
Yes.
That Nancy Wilson Martin. Since then, it's just, I might as well have a long McQuaid tattoo. But
Like,
when
don't you guys work for me by now?
yeah, no kidding, eh? But the best piece of advice I ever got, Ali, was a friend of mine. He said, Pat Goulet, Pat Goulet.
I
think
know
you know.
that name. I
Yeah.
can sort of I know that I know who that person is, but memory stuff. I
Well,
can't put it
Pat's a
together
Navy
right now.
guy that served with me and Dave, and he said, no matter what happens, you got to play 15 minutes a day, every single day, no matter what happens. And that works because even if you just sit there with your guitar and don't play, you're practicing that journey, right?
Yeah,
And more
yeah.
often than not, you're going to play for an hour, and you're going to be like, oh, I wish I could play this song. And there's then these great vocal breakthroughs, and you know about this. I don't know, maybe you always had a good voice, but me, my range was limited for some time, and it will always be limited. But I mean, to the extent now, there's a lot of songs that I couldn't do back in the day because of my voice, and now I'm simple, right?
Right, right.
I remember you were at the Swans one night when
Oh, I remember when you're talking. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was singing Into the Mystic, and I could never hit that really high note. And that night, the energy was there, and I had Dave and Brad and Roger Plant, who was
Oh, he was
not
great.
Robert Plant.
Oh,
That
Robert.
guy was
Yeah,
so tasty. I mean, that
yeah.
guy was killer. And then all that energy, and I hit that note, and I was like, wow, I never thought I would be able to do that. So
I remember it. I still remember it, and it wasn't my note. I mean, I love vocalists, right? I love listening to different ways that people sing. I could just
yeah,
and I don't need to sing with I don't quite often people would always think, oh, and try to invite me to I'm like, no, like I'm not here.
I get it.
I want to hear, or like I
I
want
get it.
to
Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
and plus somebody has to really know your stuff for me to want to get up, right? Jams and drop-in things aren't really a vocalist's thing. You know what I mean? Like
No.
it's like hell, actually. It's like, oh, please.
Yeah.
Just, I don't want to come up
I'm
with
not going to
some,
say anything, but I know exactly what you mean.
I
Yeah,
don't
we
want
don't
to
have
come
to
up.
talk. We don't have to. We don't have to go there.
I just
Yeah,
don't,
no,
but I
I get
get
it.
anyway, so
I get it.
you know what? I remember that night so well. I remember where I was sitting. I remember listening to that song. Now, here's another thing when you love someone's voice and you're like, I love the different nuances in your voice, the way your phrasing is very different than anyone else's, and I really appreciate that about what you do. So anyways, I remember, and then all of a sudden you hit that note and I was like, I was so excited. I was like, and then there's the mental game in my head. Well, I told you as soon as he came off stage, I remember it. But
You got a good memory.
I do. I remember that's in the before, right? So I do because I played it out in my head. Because sometimes when someone does something especially wonderful, then they can sometimes take it like an insult, like you said, everything else they did was crappy, which isn't at all what it is. You know what I mean? It's not at
Yeah,
all what it is. It's just like,
yeah,
well, plus that
yeah.
as a
You're
vocal,
really improving. You're really
well,
improving. Good for
well,
you.
that's the thing, though, right? We
Yeah,
want to be improving. I don't care if I've been doing it for 50 years or not. If I'm not improving, what am I doing? Like, what the heck am I doing any of this for if I just okay, I got to this level and that's
yeah.
how I'm going to stay forever? Like, it's not how I think. It's just, so I always want to say, like, that sounded awesome. And you hit that note. I never heard you hit that note before. It was like,
Well, it's a muscle. It's a muscle, and you got to
yeah.
work it. And I had not really tried a lot of those songs that I couldn't do before. Um, and now you know, until about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I started going back and trying some of those older songs, and a lot of them are coming a lot easier now. So, but it's a great feeling to be able to have the ability to play. Your playground's a lot bigger. As the more you sing, the stronger your voice box gets, the bigger your playground gets, right?
This is
So
very
it's like
good for me.
almost like a kid being at school. When you're young, you stay in that area of the playground, but as you get older, you move around the playground. You can go to any side safely, and And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's true. It's like
It's
with
it's
anything,
an,
man.
analogy that works for me.
Yeah, it's a really good
Yeah.
analogy. It's a good reminder. It's a good reminder for me because for me after it's been 10 years since my accident, and for the first, I don't know, probably 3 years, I couldn't listen to music, like, because the buzzing in my head wouldn't stop. It was like if you went like, if you go
Right.
zzz, what it does on your tongue. So my brain did that pretty much
Yeah.
constantly for the first year. And then for the next couple of years, it did that stimulated by things like music and stuff. So I wasn't missing it so
I
much.
remember you were housebound.
Yeah, I was,
But
yeah.
you were
So it
housebound
was,
for quite some time.
yeah, and then when I first started trying to sing, it hurt too bad. I couldn't, the vibrations in my head. And so a few things happened. I just backed away from it, and then I didn't really miss it because I was, my head wasn't working right yet. And then as I started to miss it, I couldn't sing, and I thought, I mean, I could sing, I could la la la, la, but I couldn't. I go and sang like I used to sing. And so there was a few things that we
Yeah.
found out
Yeah.
that happened in the accident, right? Like I got vocal cord dysphonia from my whiplash, and there was a few things that have happened. But the other thing, and this is what you're basically talking about, well, it's how it played out for me, was that I got it in my head I can't sing. And then that was the thing. Once I have it in my head, I can't sing anymore, then I couldn't sing anymore. And like literally, I would be trying, and well, you can hear I don't when even with my, so this is the real part, okay? So this is the actual part. Well, even talking for a little while, I start to lose my voice. But I'm working on that,
Mm.
physio and acupuncture, and I'm working on that part of it. But the other part was just not using the muscle. Like I wasn't, I went years without using it at all. I had a
You had to start from square one again.
Yeah, and like I had a gig about a week before the accident, and the next Tuesday I was going into the studio to work with this new guitar player that I'd met through this doing this gig with a friend, and then Saturday was the accident, and it was like, so I went from going back to gigging to nothing. And but when you're
I
saying,
think I remember that, Ali.
yeah, when you're saying this about the muscle, it's such a good reminder for me because I'm still working out the I just can't sing anymore thing. I'm like, I'm really, it's a bit of a dark place that I'm in, that I'm working very hard at getting out of.
Yeah, and you're never too old to do that too, right? I mean,
Yeah, heck.
um, I had somebody else say the other day, but I think people think I'm older than I am too. I get a lot of that, right? I'm 56, but I get, oh, you're like my grandpa, you're like 65. And they said, how can you still sing like that at 65? And I'm like, well, no, I'm not. I'm 56, but thanks. It's okay.
Tony Bennett was rocking it in his 80s.
Was yeah, I bought my parents tickets to that.
Oh,
And
he had a great voice
you want to
because
see
he
my, you want
kept
to see
using
my,
it. I'm 65.
my Tony Bennett? I do a Tony Bennett. It's probably not funny, but I do a Tony Bennett impression, like a onstage impression.
Oh, I like Tony Bennett. I think he's the coolest thing since I don't know
He
what.
is,
Yeah.
but when he's
Well, he's dead now, so I guess he's not that.
yeah,
But it was maybe singing with
when
my
he
mom.
was when he was on stage, his stage thing when he got older. This was basically what he would do. He would just have his microphone, and he would just be like, he would just do a circle, and he'd come around again, and that was his whole thing for like 2 hours. And I paid good money for those tickets, and my dad said, yeah, he was really good, but he just did circles all.
Well, of course he did. The man was in his 80s. What
He
the
was
hell was
85,
anybody
Dad.
expecting of him? Like
Yeah,
I remember seeing
85.
BB King when he was he came to Victoria. Oh, I won
I
those
remember that. He was 84, wasn't he? Something like that?
Yeah,
Or
he
even
was something like that. He was just brilliant. And he had to
yeah.
take a walker, like not a walk. He had to it had like a little cart, little scooter to get to the stage, and then they had to help him, and he sat down, and then he was just brilliantly him. I wept. I
Yeah.
wept his first note. And I
Was
was,
that at the Save On? Because he played at the Save On as well.
yeah, it was that's where I saw him, and
Okay.
I won the tickets on the queue because they said you had to sing a BB King song, and I so I was like, it was the middle of the afternoon. I was working on something for my business that I had at the time, doing promotions and stuff, and maybe there may have been some couple of glasses of wine in there, and I held the phone back like
Better free.
I held the phone back all the way and sang "The Thrill Is Gone," and they were like, "Who the hell are you?"
That's awesome.
I won the tickets though, but he was so good. But he kept his voice too. There's no reason to lose our voice because of
Yeah.
age if we're using our
No,
instrument.
I've seen
right?
BB Guy, not BB Guy, Buddy Guy twice.
Oh yeah, Buddy Guy was. Oh yeah, I saw
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, he was great, man.
He was great. Hey, okay. Well, okay. Wait a second. What I'm going to do is because we're about to go down a memory lane here that's going to be fabulous. But I just realized I'm trying to keep to this. They tell me it's best to keep these to the. So I'm gonna if it's okay with you, if you have time for us to start up
Yeah, I
again,
got time. Yeah.
I'll close this one down and then we will start another. So I'll say right now, Roland Barrett, thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is fun. I'm looking forward to more.
Thanks for having me, Ali. It's great to see you again, and I love talking to you. I just
It's so
absolutely love
fun.
talking
It's
stuff.
so fun.
Anything.
And this is Ali and Find Your Joy. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Do remember to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you found a piece of your joy in this episode, I would love to hear about what came up for you so that we can continue to grow the impact of this show. Thanks again. See you soon. And remember, find your joy.